My name is Carlos Lanchi from AkkenCloud, and today we're going to be going over the July Product Feature Awareness Program. So before we get started, I just wanted to show everybody just our basic support.akkencloud.com, our customer success portal here. And you'll see there is the general knowledge base items if you ever wanted to look into any sort of specific tasks or anything within the system. And then as well over here, you're going to see the community forums with announcements. Here, this new feature, July 12th, 2017, is going to be a document that was drafted up pertaining to these new features. And at the bottom here is also a technical document. So if you need any, more details on each of these improvements, or more specifically some of the reports, I'm just going to be going over them very quickly. You can certainly refer to this document. And then also, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us at 1-866-590-6695, extension 3. All right. So I'm sure all of you will recognize this home screen. This is your eDesk. So the first item that we're going to be looking into is the improvements that were made to timesheets. So that's accounting timesheets. And in the past, when I was to click timesheets, as I did right there, you'll see up here is the date range is cited. In the past, this date range would go from the very beginning of when you were added into the system. So if you've been a customer since 2012 and you still had timesheets here that weren't yet approved, the date range would go back as far as 2012, and that will cause some issues for some of our more legacy clients when trying to load this screen before you even get to any sort of querying or actually looking for the items that you're looking for. So the new standard now is going to be that every time you click on accounting timesheets, or really any of the timesheet subsets, it will default to a 3-month range. So just to display that as well, approved, you'll see it's the same way. Oh, pardon me. Rejected, the same way, though you'll also notice here for the rejected, 6/18 was the last end date for this timesheet, so it's going to give you a 3-month window with that as the end date, because it just wants to actually give you a 90-day window into your most recent activity. So let's go back to the main timesheet screen, and just to let you know, you still do have the option of searching within these fields, and you'll see that it's actually laid out in oldest to newest here. And so I searched for George Ansell, but let's say I didn't want to see the timesheet from the 9th. So what you would do to actually change the date range for your search criteria is cite it first. So click to view that, and then within these results I can then search, and you'll see only the timesheet that ended after the 9th for George Ansell has populated. So that's leading to a lot less time waiting for the timesheets to load up, and a lot more time actually looking into the issues or just the information that you needed from the timesheets to begin with. So for our next improvement, we're going to be going into collaboration and document manager. And in the past, super users would not be able to see any documents that were created by other users. Here you'll see this was created by Gary Bryant, or posted by Gary Bryant. But also, if in this instance Gary Bryant was to be fired, then this document would then just be lost, essentially, because there would be no way for the super user to acquire it. There wouldn't be a way for anyone to log in as Gary Bryant, and there really wouldn't be a way to transfer it to another user, or that was the case beforehand. So also, there will be other ownerships that are transferred over, but we'll go over those in a moment. But let's first just get rid of Gary Bryant as an employee. It's really too bad. He was a great employee. But what we need to do here, oh, sorry everybody, my window is cutting off items a little bit and I'm trying to access this to deactivate. So we're going to deactivate Gary Bryant. And here, before you actually deactivate the employee, you'll see this these set of questions here, where change ownership of records to select employee. So this is going to be what we're actually going to be making note of for this month. Let's say I want to give it to Jennifer Burt instead. Nope. So what I've done there is actually at the point of deactivation for Gary, we're going to have all of the records change over to Jennifer Burt. And those include calendar events, task lists, and document manager. You also have the option of moving all existing emails and forwarding new existing emails, but because I didn't have any emails set up for Gary to begin with, we're just going to say no to that, and we are going to deactivate Gary. Okay, so you'll see Gary has been deactivated, and if we go back to Document Manager, you will see now that this test document that was once associated with Gary Bryant is now associated with Jennifer Burt. So not only do I as a super user have the option of accessing this document after Gary's been let go, I also have the option of moving his documents over to another user with similar permissions, or just another user that I believe should have permissions to look into the documents. And as I just touched on earlier, I did, oh, I'm sorry, misclick there. I did give Gary ownership of a few companies, but you'll see already they've been changed over to Jennifer Burt. You also note the modified date is today. That's another way that you can just ensure that that is what the change of ownership was a result of. Let's see. Just to ensure, yep. So Jennifer Burt, assumed ownership. All right. And again, if I'm going too quick here, or if you have any further questions, there is the technical document, there is the announcements page, and you can always feel free to reach back out to us. So the next section that I'm going to go over here is for the actual reports improvements. So let's just click onto Analytics. It's just going to bring us to the generic CRM reports. And the first three reports that I'm going to go over, these actually were existing reports that had additions to them, and those additions were to include the shifts that we went over in the last month. And now that you are able to establish those shifts, you should be able to actually see them carry over in the reporting to make sure that you're as compliant as possible. So the first one that we're going to go over here is shortlisted candidates by job. That is under CRM, candidates, shortlisted candidates by job. Now, to avoid any sort of customization and just having you guys watch me do that, I instead decided to just generate them. Shortlisted candidates by job. So you'll see this is some older data that didn't actually have shifts established at the time. But at the bottom here, you'll see that there are 3 different candidate names that do have the shift names cited. And again, even though I did decide to widen the search range to include submissions past 2017, you can certainly narrow it to 2017 and not get all this other information that doesn't even have the shifts cited. All right. Next item we're going to be going over, or the next report I should say, is CRM job orders, candidate submission history report with roles. Just a quick glance at some of the customization that you can add to it. And then the resulting report. Oh, would be, as you're seeing here, these are going to be any candidates that have been submitted to a job, and if so, they also have not only the shift, but the roles cited on there. So if there are any sort of commission structures that you have existing, those would be cited here as well, so you could keep track of all that. And then, of course, as you can see on the right-hand side, shifts are cited. Oh, let me just get rid of that. The last of the improved reports, just in relation to the shifts here, is going to be CRM My Placements Placed Candidate. Just a quick look at the customization. You'll notice that it limits it to just a given month. And the resulting report is this. A lot of similar fields from some of the past reports, but you'll see there's a bit more information about the actual client company itself. The salary is included, job type, and the shift, of course. All right, the next report here, and this, while it does include shifts, this is a new report entirely, and it's called the Temp Shift Schedule Report, and you can access that by going to Analytics Accounting, Activities. Overshot it a little. Time Activities, Temp Shift Schedule Report. Very last item. Pretty simple criteria here. And the resulting report is as follows. And the main point of this Temp Shift Schedule Report is this report cites all hours currently assigned to a given employee or company, and then it compares them to those hours that are actually worked. So this will help many of you actually just ensure that you're billing the client companies correctly and actually making sure that the hours that were assigned were actually worked and you are ultimately billing them for the right amount of hours. So you'll see here scheduled hours versus actual hours. And granted, here I believe I just entered 30 hours because it was a test timesheet, but you'll be able to compare the 8 hours scheduled for a given day versus the 30 entered. All right, and lastly is going to be the ACA requirements report. And you'll see there's the ACA compliance and ACA requirements report. The compliance report, which existed beforehand, includes a bit more information, or I should say, a bit less information about the employee themselves, and it actually cites average hours per week, as well as the total hours. Whereas ACA requirements report would include much more fields, sorry, misclick there. Quite a bit more information about the employee themselves, to the point where it would be almost all the information needed to ensure that they're ACA compliant. No average hours, it's just the hours worked and you cite the date range. And just to give you guys a quick look, you'll see here employee ID, one of the first items noted here is social security number, so much more sensitive information than the previous report. And the hours worked. Okay. So lastly here, we're going to be going over the improvements that were made to accounting vendors. Let's take a quick look at vendors as they currently exist. So here is a list of our current vendors, and you have the option of adding a general consulting or consultant vendor. So let's just go through the process so I can show all of you the improvement here. We have the option of selecting an existing company. That would be a company that exists in CRM, but the real improvement here was that vendors that are created within the accounting vendors section actually have a CRM company record generated. This didn't exist before, and it actually introduces some new functionalities to vendors. So let's go through the process of creating one. I'm never too creative here, so let's just do the fake vendor as the customer name. And here you'll see add customer to CRM. This is the option that you want checked off to actually take advantage of the new functionality here. And one other thing, it's going to want us to cite a contact and a candidate. Save that. So we've created a contact which essentially acts as the recruiter for the vendor company. And here we're going to want to add a candidate. I'm going to select an existing candidate. And let's pick Archie Manning. There's going to be a few fields that we need to enter here. So I'm just letting it send me there. Standard hours per pay period. And now we have added that candidate as a customer candidate, or essentially the contractor for this company. So let's click Save. You'll see fake vendor is created here, and then the new feature, fake vendor here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the contact section. So you'll see that there isn't even a blank user there for fake vendor. But here you'll see fake contact is cited as the contact on the CRM profile. And the status here is vendor. And just wanted to make note, company LMN, currently just a status of client. You can change current companies to vendor status as well. I've just changed it in the status dropdown, clicked update. But let's take another quick look at fake vendor. So fake contact is listed there. And let's take a look at Archie Manning. So here's Archie Manning's candidate record. And what we're going to want to look into to just verify the information here is go into contact info. You'll see fake contact is already cited as the recruiter contact information. In the past, you would not be able to do this because the contact at that vendor company wouldn't be associated with the vendor, because the vendor was strictly limited to the accounting section or the back office, not the front office or CRM. Because of that now, you can clearly see that cited there. So what we're going to want to do now is actually submit to a job order. Continue. And you'll see here Archie Manning has been submitted to the administrative position. We're going to want to forward to accounting. Just ensuring all the information is correct, and then we're going to want to place the candidate. So here in fake vendor, let's just take another quick look. Archie Manning, customer candidates tax type C to C or corp to corp. So he has been correctly moved over to a consulting vendor type C to C. He's not going to be receiving a W-2. He's not going to be receiving a 1099 either. Or at least not from us. Sorry, I must specify there. So let's also take one last look at candidates and Archie Manning just to ensure the tax information is correct there. Oh, I'm sorry though. Oh man. Sorry everybody, misclicking a bit. So let's go into HRM Employee Management. Take a look at Archie Manning and we're going to want to look at his HR data and his tax deduction. So you see, not only is he noted as C2C, there is the vendor name, fake vendor, clearly cited. And again, these correlations between the vendor and the contact and the candidate did not exist before, so this really is making the whole vendor process a bit easier for you. Lastly here, we're just going to want to take a quick look at a certain user who we have actually even submitted timesheets for. So technically, we owe the vendor company money. And in the past, you wouldn't be able to disassociate the contact or candidate or terminate the employee if there was still money outstanding. That is his last name. So let's take a look at Alfredo Aceves. So what we're going to do is actually terminate the employee. And as you'll see, I was able to do so with no issue. Because the vendor that he was actually still associated with here, Alkermes, we still had an outstanding balance of $1,600. In the past, we would not be able to do that, but now we currently can. And just another quick item. In the past, if you were trying to actually add candidates under the vendors section to contacts, if there were multiple contacts, it would always just automatically defer to the first. But just to let you know, now that there is the company record in CRM candidates, or I'm sorry, in CRM companies, you should always default to the first contact. So here you'll see I have Phil Smith and William J. Test. It's now up to the user to associate it to the correct, or what would be the first contact on file. So that's just something to make note of going forward. All right, well that about does it for the improvements for this month. Again, feel free to reach out to us or consult any of our support pages, the announcements page, and more specifically the entry for this month's product feature awareness program on the message board. But otherwise, again, feel free to reach out, and otherwise, speak to you all very soon. Thank you.